On this podcast, we talk about the books, both old and new, that are worth putting on your to-be-read list. I'll include the back cover synopsis, content warnings, as well as my pro and con list. To avoid any spoilers, head over to my Instagram at enjoylifewithme.angela. I'd love to hear your thoughts on these books. Let's jump in for the day. Today we're going to be talking about a nonfiction titled How to Keep House While Drowning by K.C. Davis. The back cover says, How to Keep House While Drowning will introduce you to 6 life-changing principles that will revolutionize the way you approach home care without endless to-do lists. Presented in 31 daily thoughts, this compassionate guide will help you begin to get free of the shame and anxiety you feel over home care. Inside, you will learn how to shift your perspective of care tasks from moral to functional, how to stop negative self-talk and shame around care tasks, how to give yourself permission to rest even when things aren't finished, and how to motivate yourself to care for your space. Now, there wasn't any trigger warnings in this one, I don't think, but the language is high. The F-bomb is used several times throughout it. And that was my con, is I don't feel like it added anything, and I know it's going to deter several people from reading it, even though I felt like this was a fabulous book. That's a lot of language. On the pro side, I loved that this is not about shame, because nobody has shamed themselves into better anything. She talks about having sheer force of will has never worked long term. So when she jumps into it, she talks about having things tidy versus organized, and they are not the same. If you have a spot in your home for a specific item, then you're organized. You have a spot for it to go. How often you put the thing back where it's supposed to go is whether the house is messy or tidy. And she talks about how there's no morality to that. Some people put everything away as soon as they're done with it, and some people don't, and that does not have any morality weight, honestly. She talks about how we need to throw out the pretty Instagram worthy look of things and do functional. What is functional for you, for your family, for your home? Because some of us have really small homes and things just aren't realistic that you see on Pinterest. She talks about having task initiation barriers, because that's a real thing for a lot of people, whether it's ADHD, whether it's depression, whether it's postpartum and you aren't functional. There's a lot of that, and she talks about ways to work through those to help you get started, because I'm just going to wait till I'm motivated. Not usually the great way to do that. And to be kind with yourself with it, because if you're saying just 5 minutes can be too long. When you are exhausted or depressed, or you have other things you would like to be doing, 5 minutes can be too long, and that's okay. Start with 2 minutes. She also talks about sometimes, or rarely, honestly, your cleaning cycles line up where the dishes are done, the kids' toys are picked up, and the laundry's finished all at the same time. That rarely happens, and that's okay. Like, the kids' room will be a wreck because they've been playing while you've been doing dishes, or the dishes have got put away, you're now folding clothes, and now the kids took a bath and there's water everywhere and toys in the tub. Like, things aren't all going to be clean at the same time, and that's okay. Things are getting done. It's just your cleaning cycles aren't all lined up. And honestly, I don't know anyone who's do, because that's not life. She discusses how you can upgrade a system, but that just means increasing functionality of it. It doesn't increase your worth. It's just, okay, this is how we've been doing it, and we're ready to upgrade the functionality of it. And if you're not ready to, great, it's fine. It's working for you. Then let it be. She talks about how You don't want to try and save the rainforest when you're drowning. For those with depression, anxiety, any other mental things postpartum, you don't need to save the rainforest when you're just trying to survive the day. So you can use the paper plates for as long as you need to get to a point where you can handle it. And if that's never, okay, so be it. She talks about how she uses the single-use toothbrushes because that's something she struggles with. And yeah, that is wasteful plastic, but it's like, no, because that person is just trying to have basic hygiene and that's what they need. You don't say that to people who have medication that come in plastic containers every month. That's something they need. Same thing. Also, she has that example, and I think we've all heard it, where when you're juggling, some of your balls are plastic and some of your balls are glass, and you can drop the plastic ones. They're not going to break. You're recycling, you're saving the rainforest kind of goals. That's okay. You can pick it up later when you're ready and able to. But dropping the glass ones, dropping the things that will shatter, those are the ones that take priority, and that's okay. She also talks about how rest is a right, and there was honestly some internal resistance to that one, just because I was raised with very hardworking parents, and so I was like, no, you have to work hard, and there's that initial resistance to ideas that rest is a right, because if you work in shame, you're probably going to rest in shame. You're not actually resting. You're feeling guilty, or saying I should the whole time, and that's not restful. For those of you who have looked at becoming more intuitive eating, when you start that, typically you do eat a ton of brownies and chips at the beginning because you're lifting those restrictions. So the same is probably going to happen with lifting restrictions around rest. You might just lay on the couch for a long time, and that's okay. You're not going to do it for forever. Intuitive eating isn't eating chips and brownies for forever. It's lifting those restrictions and letting your body regulate to what you need. I like when she talked about routines being all or nothing, but having a rhythm is being able to miss a beat and jump back in. Because I feel like sometimes everyone's like, oh, we just need the right routine. And yeah, you do need the right routine for you. It's not picking one off of Pinterest and saying this is what we're going to do, because that is what the other person needed to do. What you need to do is going to be different. So having a rhythm, not necessarily a routine, that's going to help you get the things done that you need to do in the way that you need to do them, because we're all different, and that's okay. Everything she talks about is just this is all morally neutral. It really is. None of this is going against, murdering people or committing adultery. This isn't the 10 Commandments. This is morally neutral. And somewhere society said it wasn't, that you had to have the perfect house to be worth something, and that's not accurate. And I just really loved her perspective shifts on this, because all of it is stuff I guess we knew, but when people say it, there's resistance, because we're like, wait a second, what is she doing telling me that I don't have to be perfect? Because you don't. And this is something I wish I had read when I was in the newborn phase. I feel like I could have taken a lot of weight off those postpartum years, honestly. Because postpartum is not just 6 weeks, that's complete bull, and some other soapbox I'll get on a different day. But having this perspective change was really, really amazing. Because it's not just for neurodivergents or people with kids. These care tasks that she talks about, they're tricky in general for everyone. Adulting is hard, frankly, and having a ton of shame and guilt taught to us around these things isn't helpful. And this is honestly a very short book. It was about 3 hours audiobook, and so I'm not sure how long the paper one was, but it was a 3-hour audiobook, and there is a abridged version of it. She'll say, hey, if you want the shorter version, skip this chapter and go to here. They're really short chapters, and you can skip to the shorter version of the already short book if this is just overwhelming, and that's okay. You don't have to read it cover to cover because it was too overwhelming. It's a really awesome perspective that I hope a lot of people will listen to, read, and then find what works for them. So I'd love to hear what you think of this book. I know when I was talking about it before, someone's like, oh yeah, I started and I just couldn't finish it. And I'm like, I get it, there's so many other awesome books out there, but I'm like, this one was good. Try to ignore the language, honestly. I'm not sure it added or helped at all, other than prove her point that things are messed up. But it was good. It was a great one that I would love to hear thoughts on. So jump over to my social media accounts. I will have the clickable link tree in the show notes, and I would love to hear from you. Talk to you soon, guys. Bye.